We've done a good job in clarifying various issues around the notion of truth and what makes something true or false, and we're going to return to that. But for the moment, let's just turn to the idea, the concept of belief. I want to make a few points about belief, because remember, this segment is going to be about truth, belief, and rationality. And rationality has something to do with belief and truth. That is, your beliefs, we hope, are rational. It has something to do with arguments. Now, I'm hoping that you are somewhat similar to me in that you're not exactly great at American history, and I want you to think about whether Thomas Jefferson was the second president of the United States. And I want you to kind of put yourself in my position, because I can never remember whether Jefferson was the second or the third president of the United States. But when you're thinking about that, you're considering the proposition Thomas Jefferson was the second president of the United States. Now, with regard to any proposition that you are considering, that you are thinking about, there are three things that you can decide to do. First one is, you say, yeah, okay, I think he was the second president. He wasn't the third. I think, Adams was the third. He was the second. Don't hold me to that one. In that case, I will believe the proposition. Then you might say, gee, no, you know something? It strikes me that Adams was the second president and Jefferson was the third. And in that case, with regard to proposition number 13, you believe 13's false, or we sometimes say you disbelieve it. Believing that something's false is that you disbelieve it. But then there is a third option. What's that? You might be where I am. That is, you're kind of stuck. You don't know whether you should believe it or whether you should disbelieve it. So until you go over to some kind of book that has some history book or some encyclopedia, or Google it or Wikipedia, you're going to suspend judgment about 13. We're going to suspend judgment about whether Thomas Jefferson was the second president of the United States. That is, you're not going to believe it, and you're not going to disbelieve it. You're not going to believe it's false. And with regard to any proposition that you're considering, you have to decide to take one of these three positions, and you can't possibly take more than one position. That is, with regard to any proposition, you have to either believe it, you have to disbelieve it, or you have to suspend judgment about it. In other words, we have a principle, it seems to be true, and we're going to call this the belief principle. Starts BP, not the gas company, belief principle. Whenever a person considers any proposition, that person must, 1, believe the proposition, or 2, disbelieve the proposition, or 3, suspend judgment about the proposition. A person cannot at any time have more than one of these attitudes towards one proposition. Now, you can go from one to the other. You might change your mind. You might go back and forth. The evidence might send you in different directions. But you can only take one of these attitudes, and you must take one. That is, you have to either believe it if you're thinking about it, you have to disbelieve it, or you have to withhold judgment, suspend judgment.